news,
Lobbyists are fed up with politicians accepting their money and then not coming through.
opinion,
When the automated police force orders you inside, that's just them doing their job.
remix.
Even lost my job partially due to the whole global warming issue. Increase in oil prices. This guy's scared.
This is Top Story with Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen,
I've been a listener for about 20 years.
I'm talking to you makes me feel better.
where the news meets your opinion. Pick up the phone and talk about it. 736-0300. That's 736-0300. Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen.
Good morning and welcome to Top Story. By the way,
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too.
I don't think this is the 150-year storm again. I think this is just a little shower. Don't you think?
That lightning last night and the storm, I was surprised. I haven't heard
we
too
get
many
that
of those.
every once in a while.
Yeah, not too much.
Well,
And it
it's
was
more
nice,
often
though.
than ever 150 years.
Yeah, back in 1986. Don't tell me about that
No,
story again.
No, we
I remember the
we get
storm in
lightning every year.
1986. Yeah, but we have lightning and rain, and I don't know. It sounded like an eastern storm. I was kind of like, this is nice.
Well, I don't know. I heard the thunder during the night.
Yeah.
And it didn't sound all that close. So
I
I
don't
was
know,
kind
but
of glad of that.
It sounded pretty close to our house, that's for sure.
It might have
It was
been.
really like blowing and raining in the bedroom, and Gracie was hiding under the bed, and
Yeah.
but she didn't wake us up. And I have to thank the listener. I don't even know who it was. They sent it to you, a little article on helping little cat info.
Yeah.
How can we get our cat to sleep at night? Those were good suggestions by Dr. Marty Becker. So whoever sent that, thank you so much, and I will try those.
You know Dr. Marty Becker.
I can't picture Dr. Marty Becker when he sent
he's
it.
from Twin Falls.
I didn't know Dr. Marty Becker.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the article.
I don't know if he still does. Well, he used to do a thing on Good Morning America on pets and everything, and he really kind of made it big.
Well, I know. I heard the name and it sounded familiar, but I can't picture him. And I always, and I watch Good Morning America. Like I
met
tape it.
him a few years ago. I used to help him on his computer.
Oh, you did?
Nice guy.
He wasn't
Very
the one who
nice
sent
guy.
that article, though, was he?
He did. Well, I think I don't know.
The article was written by him, but I don't know who sent it.
He didn't send it then. I don't think he sent it.
I don't know who sent it. You sent it to me.
I just sent it to you. I got it as a message through Facebook.
Oh, that was sweet.
So
anyway, thank you to whoever did that.
And I should have paid more attention to the name. I'm sorry I didn't. I thought, this is for Jill. I'll just forward it to her.
Clearly, anything with cats goes to Jill.
Well, it said, please let Jill know about
that
this.
was nice. I know.
Yeah,
It's nice. No, I'm feeling more rested. Thank you.
Okay, good.
And Gracie, I think, is
Good.
happier.
Hey, we're going to find out about, there's an event coming up with Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to be finding out about that. We've got the Miss Africa.
Yeah, the first
pageant
Miss
coming
Africa
up.
pageant.
That'll be interesting. We'll be talking about that next hour.
Yes, and we have the cops, and we have...
We have Gary Moon and Debbie Burr from Xavier Charter School. The school just got some recent recognition, and we're going to talk about Xavier Charter School here in a little while with Gary Moon and Debbie Burr.
Yeah.
So should be
especially with
interesting.
school starting. School's starting next week.
I know, and that's what we're going to be talking about.
Crazy.
Sergeant Dennis Pullen this morning about safety around the school areas.
Right.
And well, in all of the areas actually, but
yeah, can't we all be safe? Do I have to be in a school area to make sure someone's safe? Let's be safe everywhere, Kelly.
And then, of course, next hour we'll be talking about the announcement that the president made yesterday about ISIL. I don't know. All of a sudden, I've heard it as ISIS. Now, all of a sudden, it's ISIL.
I've
or
heard
just
both.
the Islamic State.
Yeah.
I don't know. They can't even agree on a name for it, I guess. But at any rate, made that announcement, and so we'll be talking a little bit about that. One of the things that many of us woke up to this morning was that some customers of the UPS store. Now, the UPS stores, these are franchise stores.
Mm-hmm.
There's over 4,400 of them in the country.
Wow.
And of course, we talk about the UPS store all the time here. The local store was not affected by this.
Let's make that perfectly clear.
Yes, there were 51 UPS stores in 24 states. There was one in Idaho, and that was the Meridian. store, the one in Meridian. A spokeswoman for UPS says that let me back up here a little bit. Some customers of the UPS store have had their credit and debit card information exposed by a computer virus found on the 51 stores in 24 states. Again, the local UPS store was not involved in this. But the list includes the Meridian store. A spokeswoman for UPS says information includes names, card numbers, and postal and email addresses from about 100,000 transactions between January 20th and August 11th.
So nothing important.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
UPS Incorporated said that the Wednesday that it was among U.S. retailers who got a Department of Homeland Security bulletin about the malware on July 31st. The malware is not identified by current antivirus software.
So they didn't really know until they got the notice?
Apparently not.
Wow.
The company is not aware of any fraud related to the attack. Atlanta-based UPS said it hired a security firm that found the virus in systems at about 1% of the company's 4,470 franchise locations. At many stores, the intrusion did not begin until March or April. But that kind of begs the question of our credit and debit cards that we use. Now, it's my understanding, first of all, when that big one happened with Target, I mean, that affected a lot of people.
Oh, millions and millions.
In the millions.
Millions. I think they initially said 70 million, but then it jumped to like 130 million, something crazy like that. And they've spent 90 million on settlements. Target has.
Well, that it begs the question, and now I understand, and in fact, it came out during this time of the Target deal, that in Europe they don't have that problem because they use a different technology. They have a little RFID chip in their cards over there. And here in this country, we still use the magnetic strip on the back of the card.
Right.
So I don't know why we haven't updated our technology, but are you a little bit leery of using your card anymore? I mean,
has it changed your purchasing habits? Are you paying in cash?
Going back to cash.
I'm
thinking about it.
I think about it, and I hate to say this because I like Target, I do, but I think about if I purchase something there, I'm going to use cash. You know, it makes me a little leery. I know they supposedly fixed it. I get that, but it starts to make me. You start to think more and more. You know, is it really fixed? Have they not told you? You don't know what company anymore.
That's
so
right.
It makes you wonder: should you just walk around with a wad of cash and just start paying that way?
So to you, our listener, are you a little bit leery of this? Have you started using more cash? Maybe you never started using a card. A lot of people are leery of the cards to begin with.
Yeah, Tom doesn't use a debit card.
Really?
He's old school.
Just uses cash and check?
He uses cash and he'll use credit card, but he doesn't do debit.
Well, I don't do debit. Well,
some people where you do a debit and you punch in a code and it takes directly out of your account.
That's the way mine is. Only mine acts as like a credit. Well, I don't have to put in a PIN number.
Then I think yours is more like a credit card.
It's a cash card is what it is. I swipe it and I sign it and that's it. It takes it out of my account
immediately.
Yes. Yes.
Well, anyway, some people don't do that. Some people just, pay with cash. So I don't know. Has it changed your purchasing habits? It definitely makes me think twice.
Yeah.
3 times, 4 times. And online banking, very disturbing to me. I still don't do that. I do not.
Oh, yeah.
And I won't.
I do. Most people, I think, do. Here's the deal. With whatever it is like today, what's it going to be like in 5 or 10 years?
Oh.
It's just going to get worse because the crooks get more clever. Their little games or their little inventions that they use to do this. I mean, they're even when you go to gas stations, they have found other scanners that are attached to the pumps that read your card information at the same time the gas station does.
Yeah.
And,
it's disturbing. It's disturbing. And you think, why don't they put their genius to good instead of evil? Think how many things they could, I don't know, solve. Maybe they could solve cancer with all the energy they put into all these stupid devices they're coming up with. Obviously they're out, pacing all of us Why not use it for good?
I think because they can make more money being a crook.
Yeah,
That's what it amounts to. And then it's probably tax-free. But a lot of these who are doing this are not even located in the United States.
Right.
A lot of them are overseas.
Russia, China, wherever.
That's right.
You don't
That's
know where
right.
they are, actually. You can have a computer anywhere.
And, of course, that country is not all that interested in finding them and prosecuting them because it's not happening in their country. Why would they care? And in this country, we can't do much about it because they're in that country. So, boy, talk about a license to steal.
Maybe we will just all go back to cash.
Not a
Because
bad
some people
idea.
think cash is going to be eliminated anyway.
Well, it will be. It will be.
So
It
I
will
don't
be.
know.
It-
Some
look
people
at
think
it
it'll be
now.
worthless
Look-
anyway.
Look
so
at
then-
it. Look how it is now. It's I don't carry much cash with me anymore. I mean, not that I ever did.
No,
not
you
that
don't.
I
I
ever
was
had
gonna
much
say,
to carry.
When
But-
did you carry a lot of cash, big guy? When were you just throwing hundreds around? When was that 100 burning in your wallet?
I will say
Come
this.
on, tell
it's
me.
easier to spend it by swiping the card than it is to pulling that cash
you
out
think?
of the wallet.
Yeah.
I
There's
can't-
cobwebs in that
Oh, man,
wallet.
I'll tell you what. George Washington squints every time I open my wallet. That's
What
just
the
way it is.
heck? What happened? What's happened to Kelly? He's lost his mind.
I am so tight I squeak when I walk.
Whoa, yeah.
But at any rate, I don't know. It just
It starts making me think when you start hearing more and more, and then you think for how many months they weren't aware. Oy.
I know, and that's the scary part.
very
How
scary.
many more are out there right now that this is happening,
I know.
and nobody has a clue?
I don't know.
That's the scary part.
It's
It makes
scary.
you leery to well, cash, I guess, is about the only
Yeah.
safe way.
You just say
I
cash.
would say check, but a lot of places don't take checks anymore because,
I don't know. I've written checks recently. and-
well, there are still places
Yeah.
that do, but there are a lot of them that don't take checks that used to.
but I also think men carry more cash around than women do. I know that for a fact in
I
our
don't-
household.
Well, maybe in your household,
Cash,
but
like
I don't
actual
know.
cash. Where, you these guys, they'll have wads, they just open their pocket, like, oh, what do you need? Blah, 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 I'm like, no, I'm not like that.
I don't know. That would be a good poll. To
I
do
think
because-
that I think men do carry more cash in their wallet than women do. I'm going with that one. I think women will
I
use a
don't know.
card or a debit, maybe a check. I don't think they're carrying wads of cash around like these guys do.
I don't know. That might be true.
It's
I
my
don't
theory.
know it to be true. I'm a little leery on that.
Not you, Kelly. Of course,
On
you're
that
the
deal.
exception. You're the exception on many things. Sports, cash in your wallet. I don't know. You're unique.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what I'm going to start doing is just starting to carry more cash and not use the card so much.
Okay, you changed
And
your...
one of the other things that's a little scary anymore is ordering stuff online. Well, using a card.
Yeah.
So, although I have had, it's been a few years ago, right after I made a purchase online, I got a email. I think it was from Target. There's one of those big retailers saying, "Hey, we've had this activity happen here, and I almost passed it by as just one of those scam letters, but I read it, and sure enough, it was legit." And I said, "No, I didn't make."
Kelly said, wait,
Any
what?
purchase like
So,
that.
what? Someone got into my account?
Yeah, so
That's
I don't
scary.
know. It's scary. It is.
It is
very
scary. Anyway.
Coming up, we're going to be talking about the Special Olympics right here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call.
Yes.
7360300 is the number to call this morning on Top Story. And thanks, Jill.
Why, did that come on the air?
Oh, yeah.
Did Jax?
No, I didn't hear Jack.
Oh, you didn't hear Jax?
No, I didn't hear that call.
Oh, I was responding to Jax.
Oh, okay.
See, you can't hear in his headphones if not.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right?
Yeah, so I guess my yes came out. Sorry.
We have Jack Johnson with us from the Jerome County Sheriff's Department, and also Jen Wessendorf from the Jerome County Sheriff's Department.
Twin Falls
No,
Police
Twin
Department.
Falls.
Twin Falls
Police-
Police Department. I'm sorry, I gave you I'm just moving you around at random, you know?
That's okay. It's all good.
I know. I don't know. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. In fact, we'll have Sergeant Dennis Pullen in next from the
Yes.
Twin Falls Police Department. So I get all mixed
Do you want to
up.
move him somewhere?
Yeah, we'll move him.
Haley?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he could
Okay.
he could be with the state police or something.
Okay.
You know, we'll promote him when he comes in.
Okay.
At any rate, we got a special event coming up for Special Olympics. What's this all about?
This is the third annual Fueling Dreams for Idaho Special Olympics. It's a partnership with Maverick Stores and law enforcement. Right now, for the last week, they've been selling icons for $1 a piece in the stores. On Saturday, August 23rd, from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, roughly, we'll have law enforcement at the Magic Valley locations pumping gas for people, washing their windows, and begging for tips.
Nice.
This is a big fundraiser.
Begging is the key word.
Yeah, begging's a key word. 7 cents for every gallon of gas sold during this event on Saturday will go directly into Idaho Special Olympics. So it's a really good fundraiser for us.
And which gas stations?
In the Magic Valley, Wendell, Gooding, Jerome, and both locations in Twin Falls. We believe that Burley and Rupert are also participating, but
you said Maverick, though. The
Maverick stores.
Okay,
Yeah,
I want to make sure I get to
stores.
the right one because I don't want to beg someone at another station and realize I'm not at the right one.
Right.
I might have to call you then.
Yep. That's,
So, Jen, how did this come about?
Well, a couple of years ago, we were at a international conference, and they were talking about different fundraisers that could be done to help raise money for Special Olympics worldwide. And Idaho jumped on this idea of fueling dreams, of pumping gas for tips to raise money and selling the icons. We brought it back to Idaho. They implemented it 3 years ago, and it was a huge success. And instead of doing like we do tip-a-cops and other things,
Right.
we choose our date and we do our own little fundraiser, and it happens at different times all over. This is happening in one day all over the state. So
wow.
all the Maverick stores all over the state of Idaho will have officers manning them that day, pumping gas and begging for tips. And it's just a really good outreach for law enforcement as well as just public awareness for Special Olympics. Teams are all over the state. They need help. And that's what we're out there to do, is raise money to get them what they need.
So if anybody needs gas, if they can wait till Saturday and gas up at a Maverick station, 7 cents of every gallon will go to that.
That adds
Yes.
up.
Oh,
Yes.
man,
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot.
I love that
plus
because
any tips that people don't
Yeah.
plus any
Yeah.
tips. I hate pumping my own gas. I have to say, one of the things I just don't like. I don't know why. I just don't like it. So I'm going to make sure.
How
I'm
cool
coming
does it
over.
get to have a cop pump
I
your
know.
gas and wash your
and you're
window?
going to wash my
You know?
window
Yeah.
too? I'm going to drive through mud puddles on the way over. This should be fun.
Yeah.
So Jen, are you going to be manning a station?
I'm going to be on the Blue Lake store for a few hours and then come down to the 6th Avenue West store for a few hours. So
And what are the hours of the day that they're doing it?
tentatively from 9 to 3. It's kind of how it goes by however many officers we can get out there to volunteer, and obviously what's going on. All of our officers volunteer their time. They're there on their day off. So when we're short-staffed or people are on vacation,
Right.
we do have less people. So it's just going to be who can come for how many hours. And so we're going to be out there as long as we possibly can with as many bodies as we can.
Well, it's really cool that you got all the law enforcement around the state to cooperate in something like this. I think law enforcement personnel have always been very supportive of Special Olympics, because I know they've done it around here for a long time. So
Yes.
We have several events that take place. I think Jennifer mentioned Tip-a-Cop, the torch run.
yeah.
Jennifer's actually working on a partnership for a penguin plunge this winter. So we're kind of excited. Hopefully that gets put together, and then we'll be, getting some of you people with celebrity status
Oh,
to
no.
raise some money.
Where are you plunging us?
Well, in Alaska, they do it in a natural
Yes.
body of water. That's where this started. And throughout many of the states where they do natural bodies of water. We will probably do a portable swimming pool or a dunk tank,
Oh,
something
my.
like that in a parking lot. And then there will be a tent where you can go warm up. And hopefully we can get like a spa company or somebody to bring a spa in
Oh, that would be nice.
to warm you up after you've plunged.
Well, and as a matter of fact, the Farmer's Almanac says it's going to be a super cold winter.
It is, yeah.
So-
Oh my! Well, a dunk tank. I have experience with a dunk tank.
Yes,
let me
you
tell
do.
you.
Yeah.
I'm
Very-
still in
lots of
dunk
experience.
tank shock.
Well, Jen Wessendorf from the Twin Falls Police Department and Jack Johnson from the Jerome County Sheriff's Department, thank you for telling us about this coming up this Saturday. Check out your Maverick stations and donate to Special Olympics.
I can't wait to get my tank filled. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Sergeant Dennis Pullen, Staff Sergeant Dennis Pullen of the Twin Falls Police Department in next, right here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back, and I just wanted to mention real quickly that if you were, I know, when we're talking about something like this on a rainy morning, we're talking about irrigating your fields. And I know we've had a lot of crop damage here in the area this year because of excessive moisture. But when it dries out, you still need to get that water on the fields. And they have the Certiset at Far More of Idaho. The Certiset, with Certiset, you can grow and harvest every square inch of your field. You don't have to go out and sterilize the soil to make room for the pipe. And not only that, you don't even have to move this pipe when you're out working in the field because there are attachments for your equipment that lift the pipe up over the top and out the back. So ask them about Certiset at Far More of Idaho, 324-3341, or at farmoreofidaho.com. I think you will be impressed with the technology that we have for agriculture today. Guess what? I was wrong.
What? About?
I said it was going to be Staff Sergeant Dennis Pullen.
Right. Yeah, Dennis has changed a little bit.
Yeah, he's gotten younger. He's got
more handsome.
More hair. More handsome.
Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
it's okay.
There you go.
He has his taser on us.
We have Officer Justin Hendrickson with the Twin Falls Police Department. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And you've been in before.
Yes,
so.
yes.
All right. So school's starting up here, school safety.
Yeah, school is starting up next week. It's going to be a busy week for everybody. We're going to be in full force in the school zones.
So we've got a school just down the road here. We've got Oregon Trail Elementary.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, sometimes in the morning,
yes, Kelly?
people just see how fast they can get going on this road.
In like a blue truck or something?
No.
Oh.
No.
You got to follow that. You got to follow this guy.
I am observing at this point.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to be doing?
You could make a killing if you had a radar unit
just on Kelly.
I'll keep that in mind. Yes. I'm writing that down right now.
So also we heard last time that you're going to have officers on school buses, correct?
I have not heard if we're going to do that.
Oh, that was the county.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I got confused.
Yeah,
well,
know.
The county's going to do that. Maybe
the
city should consider it.
That may not be a bad idea.
Yeah, then you jump out and you get the people.
Yeah.
Justin's going, what? I didn't hear about that.
I'm sorry. So what's going to be happening? What's the fines? What should people watch out for?
School zones, of course, the school zone is going to be from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday on most of the schools. A couple of schools, Oregon Trail, for example, and O'Leary School, they have a couple of sections that it's only when the blinking light is functioning is when the school zone is in effect.
Yeah.
If you are pulled over for speeding in a school zone, the fine is $156.50.
Wow.
Ouch. And you can use that money elsewhere, so don't speed in a school zone.
No.
And there's no tolerance on this one.
No tolerance. Nope. 20 miles an hour is 20 miles an hour.
So if you go 1, 2, 3 over, done.
That's that's considered speeding.
So are you guys going to stake things out in bushes, or are you going to be pretty much out front?
We're going to be, we're not going to be hiding in bushes and in trees and jump out at everybody. We're going to be in our vehicles, police motorcycles, everything like that. We're going to be sitting in the school zones. We want to be visible so everybody can see us and, get everybody slowed down.
How's our safety record been here in the last few years? Seems like it's been getting a little better.
It has been a lot better, especially with pedestrians, considering kids walking to school. That's another big issue that we've been having, that we've been trying to enforce the pedestrian crosswalks and vehicle stopping for pedestrians. So we've been really enforcing that, especially in the school zones.
So go ahead.
No,
I was going to say, what about parking in the bike lanes in front of the schools? What does that do for you?
That has been a big issue, especially over at Perrine Elementary and over at Sawtooth. We've been having a lot of issues with parking in the bike lanes. It is illegal, and we do try and enforce it when we can. It is an ongoing issue, and we just tell everybody, if there's a different parking place that you can park, to find somewhere else to parking in the bike lane, we will fine you for it.
How much is that fine?
The fine is $35 for parking in a bike lane, so it's not quite as much. But yet it is.
But during the rush times when you got parents picking up and dropping off, I mean, that's are you a little more lenient during that time?
We try to just at that time when everybody's parked in the bike area, we just try and get everybody to move and pull somewhere else it's just that there is so many people there at one time trying to pick up their kids or even drop them off that
Right.
And that, it's a constant issue.
I know we have school buses within the city too, and people need to watch out for the flashing lights and the extended sign.
Yes. It is actually a misdemeanor to pass a school bus that has the red flashing lights and the stop
Really?
sign out. Yeah, it is a misdemeanor.
Wow.
And we do get quite a few of those. So please, if
Are people not aware, like when you see the flashing thing and they stop, that you're supposed to stop?
We've had a lot of issues where people just aren't paying attention, or they see it at the last minute and just end up passing the school bus because they weren't paying attention.
They're too busy texting?
Exactly.
How much is that fine?
I believe it's $84.
Okay, everyone knows all the amounts of the fine. Stop doing this, people.
Save your money.
Exactly.
Save your money.
Convert it to cash.
Yes.
All right, Officer Justin Hendrickson from the Twin Falls Police Department. Thanks for what you do, and we appreciate you coming in.
Out there.
Thank you, guys.
Going to talk about Xavier Charter School next, right here on Top Story. 7360300, the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And we have with us this morning Gary Moon, who is the head of schools at Xavier Charter School. And we have Debbie Burr, who is the chairman of the Xavier Board. So nice to have you both here.
Good morning.
Well, thank you. You're glad to be here.
You're kind of, I know I'm kind of partial to Xavier. I have a grandson who attends Xavier.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure. That's right. No bias on my part.
Yeah, exactly.
But Xavier is doing quite well, as evidenced by receiving the award for the top five, one of the top 5 charter schools.
Yeah, the state of Idaho actually released the statewide SAT scores from the SAT testing day last April. There were 192 districts that participated in that, and of the 192 districts, Xavier received number 5 in the state. So we're extremely proud of that. Yeah, our kids and our teachers both have done a great job.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. And Gary, this will be your second year as head of schools? Then?
Yes, just started my second year.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
It was a great first year, a good learning experience for me. I feel a lot farther ahead than I was at this time last year, for sure. I've been in education for about 20 years, but all of that's been in traditional public schools. And Xavier is a public school or a charter school, so we follow a classical method of education, and that was a little different for me. And I'm still learning that, but it's been it was a great first year, and I'm looking forward to starting this year.
So what's the difference when you say a classical method? Like some people, you just hear charter school, but you don't really understand. And coming from traditional, what is the difference? I don't know what classical means.
All charter schools have to have something that makes them different from a traditional public school. That's how you get your charter. And in Xavier's case, we are a classically modeled school, which means we follow an education method that's kind of time-tested and started with the Greeks and Romans. And we call our 3 schools, actually, we call them grammar school, which would be our elementary age kids for the most part, logic school, which is our middle school age kids, and rhetoric school. And following those 3 methods or those 3 areas of development as kids grow. We're very language-based. We teach classes very early in the educational career of our students on Latin word roots, and we just kind of follow a child's natural progression and try to build educationally off where they are developmentally. And that's kind of the methods that we follow. We use a lot, especially in our rhetoric school, which would be high school age kids, Socratic discussion and Socratic questioning. We really strive to teach kids not just what to think, but how to think. And I see a huge difference. The biggest difference I think I see is in our upper aged kids. Their abilities to reason and question and debate is higher than most places that I've been.
I think a lot of people too are confused about operationally between the difference between a charter school and a regular public school and the funding and such. How does that work? What are the differences?
Debbie can chip in on this anytime she wants to also, but we get paid really the exact same way that a traditional public school does. We get based on our attendance, the number of students we have and the attendance rate. The biggest difference I think is a huge majority of schools in Idaho, that money doesn't meet their needs, so they run supplemental levies. Every school I've been at has run a supplemental levy. Charter schools, we don't have the ability to run a supplemental levy, so we pretty much live off what we make from the State Department on attendance. We have a few small fundraisers. We're really this year diving into the area of grants to try to get some a little bit more funding. And we have a very active parent organization. Our PFA is active in running some fundraisers that helps us out also. But we just don't have the ability to levy our constituents, our community, and that's a big difference for us.
Are you able to charge tuition or? Okay, so you don't do that
we're a
either.
Traditional public school. We are a public school, not a traditional one, but we are a public school, so it is tuition free. I think a couple of the other differences are in traditional public schools. Idaho's got a very convoluted formula about how schools are funded, but one of the pieces of that formula is how many teachers do you have, how much educational experience do they have, their salaries based on a table, and traditional public schools get money for that, and if those districts don't use the money for the teachers, that money actually goes back to the state. It's designated just for teacher salaries. At Xavier and other charter schools, you can use that money in the general fund. You have to obviously pay at least the state salary scale, but you're free to use that money in another way. Just 2 years ago now, because this will be our second year, I think the state legislators decided that they would start to give charter schools a little bit of money for facilities. But honestly, if you look at nationally what's happened with charter schools, facility funding is the number one reason why charter schools end up not being successful, because there's really no way to fund them. Traditional public schools can levy and raise taxes to build, just like the Twin Falls School District did here. Yeah. But charter schools don't have that ability. So that's always a concern. And I think right now that's probably the biggest financial concern at Xavier, although we are working very hard on that.
How many students do you have at Xavier?
About 640. In the Rhetoric School or the high school age kids, we have about 140. And right now, I mean, one of the reasons I was so excited to come and bring this news to the community of Magic Valley is the fact that we have openings. We have a waiting list pretty much in every other grade at Xavier, but right now we don't have a waiting list in our high school. And obviously our kids are performing very well. So if parents are interested in bringing their kid over to Xavier this year, at any point anyway, we don't have a waiting list, so we're open and available.
Do you start the same time Twin starts? The other schools, or are you after Labor Day?
We are after Labor Day. We made that conscious choice as a board.
Okay,
however, we get out about the same time.
Why are they starting before Labor Day? It seems odd to go for a couple days and then does that not seem odd, or is this the first year they've done it?
Yes.
Oh, it is
I'm
the
going to
first
let Gary
year.
answer that one because there's actually a reason.
What is the reason?
I think, and I can't speak for the Twin Falls School District, obviously, but I think their reason is in relation to the testing that takes place in the spring. This gives them more days prior to the testing that occurs in May, and I think that's at least part of the reasoning to do that. And I don't know what other schools in the area are going to do in that regards, but like Debbie said, we made a conscious effort to stay after Labor Day.
So what's the first day of school for you guys?
We're September 2nd.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of the more traditional starting time,
right?
Then. Yeah. Which is kind of ironic, but. Do you find that more and more people are wanting their kids to go to a charter school now?
I think you are seeing more of that movement. We're a school of choice. All charter schools are a school of choice, and there's a lot of misconceptions out there. We still get questions about tuition all the time, and because we are a public school, we don't charge tuition. We're the biggest charter school in our area, one of the biggest ones in the state based on number of students that we have. And I think that we continue to grow the size of the waiting list that we have kindergarten through sixth grade it's I can't off the top of my head say probably around 350, 400 students on the waiting list to get into those grades. So I think that speaks a lot to people looking for different options for their kids educationally.
And I'm going to speak now just as a parent. I mean, as a parent, I got involved at the board over at Xavier. I was interested in taking my kids wherever I could take them, where I felt like they would really be prepared to go to college. That's where I expect my kids to go.
Right.
So I just was looking for an alternative. Didn't have to be traditional or whatever. I just wanted some place where my kids could go that I knew that they would be prepared well. And I found it at Xavier.
So what's the rate of high school graduates from Xavier actually going to college? Because we know it's pretty bad overall for the state of Idaho. I think 1 out of 12 complete college in the state of Idaho, which I think is one of the lowest of all the states. Do you know what your percentage is or what your rate is?
I don't know the rate off the top of my head, and we're just collecting that data. We collected it for last year's graduating class as our first really complete set of data. It's become a priority for us to start to do that. That was our 4th graduating class. So as far as kids that complete college, we're just right at that point now where we're going to start to see that. A huge majority of our students do go on to college. I can tell you, we had 17 graduates last year, and those 17 graduates combined were offered around $275,000 in scholarships, and we have students that go here to CSI. We have students go to University of Oregon from that class. We have a student going to William and Mary in Virginia from that class. So we kind of run the gamut on where students go, but a majority of those students do go on to college, at least for that first year, and that's something that we are tracking now. And that information we collected on last year's graduating class, we've mailed out to everybody that's graduated, and we're waiting to get that back so we can kind of.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting to see what the statistics are, because it's pretty poor in Idaho overall.
It is. I feel really strongly that it's going to come back favorably, and it's something we want to use to kind of market our school. As Debbie said, we have openings, grades 7 through 12, and that's an area we really want to grow, and that's going to be a focus of ours. The SAT results we got that were put out by the State Department this week are going to help us, I think, and we just want people to know what kind of product we offer and what students can gain by coming to Xavier.
We're talking to Gary Moon, who's head of schools at the Xavier Charter School, and Debbie Burr, who is chair of the Xavier School Board. How does a charter school start? Is that a little different than the traditional school? I mean, somebody decides, I would like to start a charter school, and it kind of grows from there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All charter schools start with an idea. And in our community, Xavier Charter School just grew out of the idea of two educators who'd spent most of their life in education deciding that there had to be a better way, a different way that they thought they could get better results. And so how that ends up happening, they've changed it a little bit. When it first started, you had the Public Charter School Commission, and charter schools were either authorized through that commission or through their local school district. Xavier is authorized through the Public Charter School Commission. But now there can be other authorizers. That went through the legislature last year. So now there are other people who can authorize charter schools. But in general, you have to write a charter, make a petition to whoever you want to be your authorizer. The chartering process is very rigorous because obviously they don't want to be giving taxpayer money to something that doesn't have a chance of really working. So you have to have a business plan, you have to have an educational plan, you have to put all those things together and make the petition. In general, I would say it probably takes 12 to 24 months to get that through the process.
Yeah. And what about the curriculum? Because there was a charter school, I think it was, I don't know if it was in Nampa somewhere a few years ago, where they were, it was more religious based, which was a problem. How do you come up with the curriculum, and does it correspond with standards, for other states? And, right now we're dealing with Common Core and standards so that, a third grader in Idaho can, go to school in Massachusetts.
I think that's a great question too. And really, as part of that chartering process, everybody's coming up with this idea. We think we could do something a little bit different to get a better outcome. And generally, you must come up with use a curriculum that's got some data behind it. It would be pretty unusual in our state to say, I want to do a charter school, and I really think this is going to work, so let's try a grand experiment. I don't have any data on how we're going to teach or what we're going to teach, but, have faith in us.
Right.
That would be very difficult to do. So the curriculum, the classical education curriculum that we have chosen to follow over at Xavier is called Core Knowledge, and it's got some great data behind it, and obviously it produces a pretty good product. But that's, you can come up with whatever you want to, but to get through that chartering process, you're going to have to demonstrate that your curriculum that you've chosen is going to produce results, at least has.
Does this seem that you have fewer discipline problems at a charter school than a normal school, or is that just kind of a myth?
Based on my experience, and again, I've been there 1 year, I'd say we do have fewer discipline problems. I think a big reason for that is our kids are very busy at school. There's not a lot of idle downtime. They are on task, and that always helps. That's always been my message to teachers at the beginning of a year is the kids that get in trouble are the ones who aren't on task or who have free time. And there's not a lot of free time at Xavier for students.
Do you think it's also smaller numbers? I mean, what's the teacher-student ratio? When you say you had 17 graduate, that sounded like a small number.
It is in our upper school, but in our lower school is at capacity. Our kindergarten classes, and this is set in our charter, have 24 kids in each class. First through third grade have 28 kids in each class, and then fourth through sixth grade have 33 kids in each class. Wow. Those are large class sizes.
That's large.
It's very large, and we have very few discipline problems again because it's very structured. Another big thing that helps with that, I think, is we have a lot of buy-in from our parents. It's not easy to be an Xavier student. It's challenging. It's not easy to be an Xavier parent. We ask a lot of our parents. We ask 20 hours of volunteer work each year, and we have parents that are very active and very supportive of our teachers and our educational process. And so I think those are a combination of things that help us with reduced discipline problems.
Now, we're just about out of time, but you said you do have some openings. So how do they go about getting in?
call the school.
What's the number?
Call the school. Our phone number is 734-3947. And one myth I'd like to maybe displace about charter schools in general is we don't handpick our students. Whoever's the top of the waiting list is in if they want to come in. We have them come in usually and sit and watch a class, go through an interview so we can explain to them what we're about. But if they want to come, they come. We don't handpick students. Anybody that's at the top of the list gets in.
Gary, what's the number again, slowly?
734-3947.
Okay, great.
Gary Moon and Debbie Burr, thank you very much for telling us about Xavier Charter School, and congratulations to the great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck this school year.
Yeah, we'll take your conversation next hour right here on Top Story. And welcome back to Top Story, 736-0300, just like the man said. Hello, Jill.
Hello, Kelly. Where's our Raindrops song?
Oh, I don't know. I played it last hour.
I know, it's so
I don't know.
nice.
Should I play it? Is it still raining?
I don't know. It looks cloudy out.
You didn't check when you went out, huh?
No.
That was...
I had a task to do.
I see.
I didn't make it out of the hallway.
Okay, all right. Well, boy, we had quite a thunderstorm last night, I guess, and I guess a little bit windy in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What's the temperature right now?
The temperature, as we speak right now, currently at the present time.
Yes, KLIXcast?
Is 64.
Wow, balmy.
Yeah,
okay,
a balmy 64.
For August.
Actually, I have to say it feels pretty darn good.
It does feel nice.
I was kind of sitting out on the deck a little bit yesterday, and it was at that time it was a little bit warm and muggy.
Mm-hmm.
So when it cools off and get that little breeze going and the clouds up,
nice.
I kind of like that type of weather.
No,
I don't
nice.
like it when we get a bunch of rain and it ruins crops and everything, but I do kind of like rainy type cool weather.
Yeah, it was a nice change. It was
Yeah.
definitely a nice change. But if you had this like every day of your life, like Seattle or Portland or whatever, you'd be like,
Yeah,
just
I know.
drizzles on you
agreed.
every day.
Yeah, I imagine are the suicide rates pretty high in Portland?
I don't know. Coffee drinking's high.
Well,
It keeps you stimulated. It keeps your blood sugar up.
oh really?
Yeah, it's probably they drink more coffee out in Seattle than anywhere.
It surprises a lot of people when they realize that I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, they're
I
probably
never
wondering
have.
what you're drinking. I know people ask me, what am I drinking to do the show?
I
And I'm
go
like,
for the harder stuff. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what's in this cup?
It's not any particular reason. It's not a religion, not my religion or anything like that. I just never drank coffee, and I still don't to this day.
No. But
So-
you drink soda, and I don't drink soda.
I know.
So
I know.
there you go.
I drink a little soda once in a while, and I get those
Colored
little,
water.
those colored water flavor things, the Mios or whatever they are. I get those.
I have no
and
idea
squirt them
what
in
they
a
are.
cup of water.
We've looked
and
at
stuff,
those
and they're-
ingredients,
and
Kelly.
they're probably going to kill me. Everything you eat or drink nowadays is going to kill you. So, I guess it'll just have to. But
So
at
there
any
you
rate,
go.
I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't smoke. I'm not the average radio guy.
Well, a
Because
lot of them
everybody
drink
I've known,
coffee.
actually we don't.
Actually, Nate doesn't drink
No,
coffee.
we don't
and
really
Brad
have a lot
doesn't
of
anymore.
But over the years, I have worked with a lot of radio people, and they all smoked and drank and cussed.
And that was all on air.
That was just during their show.
Ratings were
But
fabulous.
they were big coffee
No,
drinkers.
yeah.
We do have some big coffee drinkers. We have some coffee drinkers who, when they can't start the day without coffee.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a stimulant. So.
I have never.
Well, that's why people are drinking sodas. Mountain Dew has huge amounts of caffeine.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Other sodas, a lot of people can't start their day without
I
a
drink
Coke.
soda to quench my thirst, though, not to get a big high. I don't know. At any rate, we do have some news to talk about this hour that we weren't able to talk about last hour. We just kind of got right into the deal on the cash cards and such. But the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has rejected Idaho's motion to have a larger court panel hear its appeal of the gay marriage ruling. The state is appealing a May ruling by a lower federal judge that will, if it stands, legalize same-sex marriage in Idaho. The state had sought an en banc hearing on the case, which is a hearing by a panel of 11 judges from the court rather than the usual 3, arguing that the question was a consequential constitutional question of exceptional importance and urgency that justifies the unusual step. Federal code generally discourages en banc hearings. The court is still scheduled to hear arguments in San Francisco starting at 9:30 a.m. September 8th on same-sex marriage cases from Nevada and Hawaii.
Yep, another
So
good use of our tax dollars on this one. Thank you. Let's keep going for this. It's ridiculous. That's all I can say. Next.
You know, I don't.
We've
next,
talked about it.
I know we've talked about this.
Let's
ad
keep
nauseum.
appealing and building up the legal fees for what?
A lot of the folks I've talked to, even if you were against same-sex marriage, it does seem pointless to continue to push it in the courts when the courts are deciding otherwise.
Right and left, all across the country.
And so I'm thinking maybe you should retreat and save your money. You know,
because Idaho's so flush with money.
So, well, I know.
We're so flush with money.
But at any rate,
yes.
I don't know. I just see that as that's a deal we've already lost. So, and the other side would say, they know what, we've already won that. So that's just the way it is. An Army sergeant held as a prisoner of war in Afghanistan for 5 years wants to go back to college once the investigation into how he was captured by the Taliban is finished. Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is in a holding pattern doing administrative duties at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, according to his attorney, Eugene Fidel, a military justice expert who's also visiting lecturer at Yale Law School. But any discussion of where Bergdahl wants to attend school or what he wants to study is way ahead of the target. So they're saying, you know, this is going to be a while, so don't make any decisions yet. We could, you know, go into the background of Bergdahl, freed on May 31st and such, but I think everybody living in Idaho pretty much knows about Bo Bergdahl. Wow. He is back on active duty. He's got a desk job at Fort Sam Houston. Now he's thinking, when this is all over with, I want to go back to college.
You know what? And maybe he decided he wants a new path for his life, and I say good for him. I mean, you have 5 years to think about it, like, you know, probably not knowing whether you're going to live or not. Now he's probably thinking, you know what? I want to do something else with my life. So, you know, good for him.
Well, things were a bit easier in Ferguson, Missouri during the night. I went through several stories on this morning, and I thought it's going to be ridiculous to try to cover all of these stories. So I just went through and kind of summarized of a brief summary of the last day or so in Ferguson, Missouri. Last night, only 6 arrests after 47 from the night before. There were only a few protesters who were finally dispersed by thunderstorms.
Maybe that's what they should have done. Brought in the thunderstorms a week ago.
Brought in the water trucks, I guess. I don't know.
Not the water trucks, thunderstorms. Talk to Mother Nature.
A small hubbub arose Wednesday when 2 protesters held up signs supporting the officer who shot Brown. One read, "Justice for Police Officer Wilson." And then yesterday was so peaceful that the state troopers had time to go buy a basketball for neighborhood youth and a net for their goal, which they installed. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder visited Ferguson yesterday, which seemed to quell a lot of the unrest. With the weight of Ferguson on his shoulders, the Captain Ron Johnson from the Missouri Highway Patrol had forgotten his own wedding anniversary. Holder told Johnson, "We'll write you a note."
I mean, what that man's been through. And when he first took over, they had the first night of peace. And honestly, they should have just kept it that way instead of bringing in the tanks again and whatever. And he can relate to the community. He's been raised there. He's African American.
Do you think that was appropriate for him to bring up? About in my earlier years, I was harassed by the police.
Who?
And they did that.
Are you talking about Eric Holder?
I'm talking about Eric Holder. Sorry, I kind of when you brought that up.
Well, I mean, I think part of it hits a chord. Like, yeah, he's been harassed. Obama's been harassed. We've had, you know, like I said, the African American attorneys at Reebok. I mean, I think he can relate, and I think it touches a chord. And you know, you relate to your audience, you relate to someone, you relate to the community, and saying, "I understand. I've had that happen."
But do you think it was appropriate to bring it up on this type of a scale?
Sure.
I mean, maybe in a private conversation might have been one thing, but when you're talking about it in front of the entire nation, talking about, they have already reached a conclusion. You can tell that by the way they talk.
He brought it up in a speech he did on race a while ago. I don't know if it was a year or so ago.
Well, again.
And he brought that up again. And I don't see anything wrong with it. It's like, I can understand this. I've been profiled. I think every black man, especially in the cities, New York, Washington, whatever, have been profiled, looked at twice when you're in a store. I mean, they had that case of the kid buying an item at Barney's. I don't think anything's wrong with it. I think you relate more to the community and say, I understand, we're going to investigate this.
It seems inappropriate to me for Eric Holder to bring that up on the national scale like he did.
He's already done it.
By doing that, he's pretty much, he's saying, well, we're going to do a thorough investigation. It's going to be fair and blah, 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 blah. And by the way, he just as well say, by the way, the cop shot the black boy and he shouldn't have.
I don't think that's what it's saying. He's saying, I can relate to your community. This community is a tipping point, and this is what's happened. It's the tipping point of what's going on. And he can say, I can relate, because these parents are worried about their kids going out. They're worried about being pulled over themselves. The grandfather of Michael Brown's been pulled over just for driving in a certain area. You know what? He can relate. And Ron Johnson relates. He says that too. He says, I have a black boy upstairs.
I know. I'm not saying that stuff is not going on.
I have no problem with that.
But is he there to heal or is he there to point fingers?
I think he's there to say...
It was almost like he was pointing fingers.
I think he's saying, I think we're going to do an investigation. I understand. We're going to do a thorough investigation.
What do you think? 7360300, top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
So if I get pulled over for something I think is BS, does that mean I'm being harassed?
Apparently so.
I mean,
No.
I mean, seriously, if you're an African American, Latino, or whatever, if you get pulled over and let's say it's for expired tags, are you being harassed? I got pulled over for expired tags, and I'm as white as a snowflake on a paper plate in a snowstorm.
You know what? I don't even think it compares because...
But it does.
It doesn't.
If you sit here and say, I get pulled over for minor infractions because of the color of my skin, is garbage.
That is not garbage.
After midnight, people get pulled over because 9 out of 10 people are drunk. Officers will pull people over for any minor infraction because they're looking for DUIs. It's not because of people's color. And at the end of the day, Eric Holder was absolutely wrong to inflame it like he did, because now what he's doing is he's giving permission to the people to act the way they are. Yeah, hey, I know how it is. You're right. Yeah. You should be mad. And you know what? Hey, if you want to burn down your neighbor's house, go for it.
I don't think that's what he said, and I don't think Twin Falls, Idaho relates at all to Ferguson, Missouri for the demographics, and they have outrageous amounts of stops for blacks and brown people in Missouri for no reason at all. People have been saying they've pulled over. Oh, we thought you had a light out. They didn't. They just pull them over. You know what? It's not even close. We can't even relate out here. We have what? How many? We have so few African Americans in this community. So few. I don't even think you can relate, but I'm sure the Hispanic... But was it really up to
Eric Holder to...
Is it up to him?
I think he's inflaming that. He's actually pointing fingers. He just as well come out and say that officer is guilty, and we're going to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law.
He said that
and we don't even know yet if he did anything wrong.
They have 40 FBI agents out doing investigations. All he's saying is we're going to investigate that, but he also knows what it's like, and that's why I think it reached the level it is, because look at what's happening in Ferguson. Look at, they suspended a police officer who, was pointing their guns at people saying, I'm going to use the F word, shoot you all. I mean, come on. This is, you look at our police officers, you try to work with the community. It's so adversarial. I have no problem with that. He can relate to it.
But I understand. But when Eric Holder goes there and says, I can relate to all of this, I was harassed too.
What is wrong with that?
Is
Ron
that he
Johnson
just as
can
well
relate.
Say, all these cops are out to get you, folks. What you're doing is just fine. That's just about what he said.
Look at what the cops were doing. Tanks for, pointing guns at people that were trying to get into their house. Is that appropriate? Would that happen here to us? No.
7360300 is the number to call. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Yesterday's $100 instant winning name is Michael Kasel.
Michael Kasel, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is crane.
Crane.
C-R-A-N-E.
Crane.
Now, that could be a big piece of equipment, or that could be a bird that stands on one leg.
I've seen those out where we live. Beautiful.
Oh,
huge, gorgeous.
We have a lot of beautiful wildlife around here we don't even know about.
No, we don't.
But anyway, back to the deal here. You can go to our website at newsradio1310.com. You can click on Word of the Day, type in crane, C-R-A-N-E, and you could be a $100 instant winner. So what do you think? Was Attorney General Eric Holder out of line yesterday, or do you think he's just trying to do his job and quell the issue, or did he have ulterior motives? 736-0300, top story, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hi. Yeah, I think he was out of line, and I think the governor should be impeached. This is so out of hand, this story over there. What about the shooting in Salt Lake? How come it didn't make the news?
I don't know what shooting
Okay,
you're
when was
talking
that?
about.
It was yesterday.
See, I didn't even hear about
yeah,
that.
it came out on the news that a non-white officer shot a teenage kid, unarmed.
Was the kid, what color was the kid?
White.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
And the police officer just happens to be black.
Interesting.
But you know what? It's the history of what's happened in this state for years and years and years. And so it's not like this was just one incident. This is many. And the guy who was shot the other night, who they said was charging with a knife, they have videotape that contradicts what the police said. So this has been going on in this area for a long time, and it's not like it's one time, and that's what people don't understand. It's the tipping point.
But should Eric Holder be there trying to quell it, or should he be there trying to point fingers and trying to
I think
claim,
they're trying to
I
investigate.
feel your pain because I've been there too. I just think
I don't
that's
think
a bad
anything
approach.
is wrong with that. And P.S. he is African American. You don't think he said it a year ago in his big speech on race? President Obama has said that. So you know what? So what? He can relate. That's all. And I don't think anything's wrong with that.
So instead of bringing people together and saying, look,
he is bringing
we've
people
been there,
together.
done that. We need to bring people together. It's like, oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
What is wrong with empathy?
I was harassed when I was a kid too. Because
what is wrong with empathy?
There's nothing wrong with empathy in the right place. This was not the right place.
That is the right place. Where else would you do it if it's not in Missouri? Would he go to Salt Lake and go, I know what you feel like. I've been harassed as a black man. They'd be like, I'm sorry, we're all white. I don't get it.
Look that story up. See if you can find that on
Which
there.
one?
The one about in Salt Lake.
Oh.
736-0300. Top story. You're on the air.
Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, lovely Jill. Listen, Cal, it's kind of hard, like when you live up here, that when you're a minority. And I'm telling you, because I've been picked up just walking down the street. It was a cop car, boom, in Ontario, California, boom, picked me up. Takes us to a kind of liquor store line, me and a few other guys, and they got the chandelier. They didn't even ask me for my ID or nothing. Why did I get picked up? Oh, because they were looking for somebody. Go figure that one out. And I've also been pulled over at night in Ontario also. Why? Because he said my license plate light was out, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And after I told him what, grab my ticket. He says, well, keep it up. You know what? I'll find enough things, violations in your car that I'm going to pick.
But was it inappropriate for Eric Holder to bring that up yesterday, or should he have been more trying to quell the situation instead of trying to choose sides?
I mean, you identify with your people, Caucasian, older, conservatives. You identify with them. Okay? He identifies with people of his color. Everybody, we all do. Remember, that's what they Portuguese and stuff. There is bar mitzvahs. There's all that. So people identify with their own. So he's not a successful silver spoon in his mouth black man that became an attorney. He came from the bottom up. So if he can identify with them, go ahead. Identify with your gender.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for the call and your opinion.
So
736-0300. Top story. You're on the air. What do you think?
I was just actually calling in the KSL, went to the KSL website, and what it is there was a protest yesterday about 2 officer-involved shootings where they shot unarmed people. On August 11th, it looks like police shot an unarmed man outside of a 7-Eleven. They said that they had a report that someone was waving a gun. They showed up and shot him. The other one was one that happened in West Valley City. They actually fired an officer over it, and I think they charged him with manslaughter, but that was in January 9th, 2013. There was a lady in a car, and she was unarmed when they shot her. There's actually more on these stories, but That's what the guy was calling about. I think that he was saying yesterday in Salt Lake they had a big protest, but yeah, the reason nobody's going to Salt Lake, and it's not because everybody in Salt Lake is white, because Salt Lake actually has a pretty decent minority, just like everywhere else.
So was it a African American cop shooting a white guy?
No, I think it was I don't know. It doesn't really say the person.
I pulled up too that it doesn't say.
Well, we're coming up on a break here. We'll be right back on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call. 7360300 is the number to call. We have some callers waiting, but before we get back to our discussion, I just wanted to remind you to stop by Canyon Pawn and see the folks there with Dave Hansen and the crew. It's a nice, it's the newest pawn store, pawn shop, whatever you want to call it, in Twin Falls. And it's right across from Will's Toyota on South Shoshone Street. Locally owned. They got some brand new items in there. They got some used items. They've got lots of miscellaneous stuff. They got fishing poles. They got tools, woodworking equipment, recreational equipment, and they've got guns. So, everything you would expect to see at a pawn shop, except for, well, you know how it is. You go into a lot of pawn shops, and it's kind of like they haven't swept the floor for a while, and it's, it's just, it's a nice, clean place here. Take my word for it. And it's newly remodeled, and he's got some beautiful cabinets in there that he made himself for his display cases. I mean, Dave Hansen, I tell you, he's quite a woodworker. So you go in there and check it out. Tell him hi. It's fun just to browse through. And if you don't find what you're looking for today, go in tomorrow, because there'll be a new inventory, because that's the way it is at a pawn shop. At Canyon Pawn, it's located right across the street on South Shoshone from Will's Toyota. And tell them that we sent you in. 7360300 is the number to call. Eric Holder. Was he inappropriate in his comments yesterday, saying, yeah, I know, I've been there, done that, or do you think that those were okay? Top Story, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. Jill, I think it's okay for him to show compassion and to bond with these people because he's had that experience. But I just think it was at the wrong time. He was sent there to help with the investigation and to try to calm things. And at this point, when he makes those comments, a lot of the black people are going, yeah, see, the cop was wrong. And it sounds like he's taking sides. I think it could have come at a later time after the investigation, because it did come across as being biased.
Well, what he said is he met with a bunch of high school students. That's what he met. It wasn't during he wasn't interviewing people. They have 40 FBI agents doing that. He met with students. All he said
was there.
Well, fine, but all he said is he understands the mistrust between some residents and the police. There is mistrust. That's why they brought in the Attorney General, because they don't trust the investigation that the local police are doing. And but let me finish. This is what he said. I'm the Attorney General of the United States, but I'm also a black man. And he said that he remembers how humiliating it was when he was, stopped twice for speeding, and then the police searched his car. So, I mean, I have no problem with it. He understands that's what these kids are dealing with, but he's not saying anything about the case. He's saying he can relate. And I think that brings a community together that, you know what, he does know what we're going through, but it's still going to be an investigation.
We have another caller here. We're kind of running out of time. Top Story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but our leadership in this country, they're a bunch of charlatans. Every time they bring up race, every time that they say, oh, I'm a black man and I've experienced this before, blah, 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 they forget why we immigrated to this land, and it was for justice. We're a nation of laws, not a nation of men, and they should leave race clear out of it and let the law do what it does. And that's it.
Did you kind of get the impression that he'd already made up his mind about that cop?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what he's done his whole career. He's a charlatan.
You know
Pure
what?
And simple.
They actually didn't immigrate here. They were brought here as slaves to this country. And you know what? It would be great if race wasn't put into it. But when you have a disproportionate amount of black men being stopped, according to the population in Missouri, for whatever reason, no reason at all, that you're automatically
Nobody's disputing that.
But race is a factor.
Nobody
so
is
don't act like
disputing
race
that.
is. Yes, they are. That's what this caller just said.
No.
They're bringing this up. You know what?
We're talking about two different things here. We're talking about his comments, even though that might be the case.
He has every right to say that
because it made him sound biased.
It made him sound like he understands what they're talking about.
It made him sound
he has
biased.
40 agents investigating and talking to witnesses. He's relating to the community, and I think it was appropriate.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air.
Yeah, Kelly and Jill. I think Holder is just nothing but a political hack. Why didn't Obama come? You know, he got the Nobel Peace Prize. Why didn't he come out there and settle it all?
Oh, my gosh.
I'll tell you what, he didn't, because he made that little speech regarding the execution of James Foley, and 4 minutes later, he was back on the golf course.
You know what, Kelly?
Didn't have time.
That
was
is not
his
true.
10th, 18th. That is true.
He has made
it
three.
is totally
he has
true.
made 3 comments on Ferguson. He hasn't been. He can't do everything. He's president, and he has the attorney general doing it. I'm sorry. That's why you have a cabinet. You know, it's just amazing.
President Obama's actions. Now, we've been talking about Eric Holder. We're not going to have time to pursue this, but President Obama, to make that kind of announcement, and then bang, within 4 minutes, he is out teeing off. I'm sorry. There is no compassion there whatsoever.
You don't play golf. Golf is a way. It's very peaceful, and you can think.
That's his 10th, 18 holes.
He's on vacation, supposedly.
I don't care. I don't care.
Let him sit in a room.
Being president. If you can't handle it, then get out.
He is handling it.
We'll be right back. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. Hey, we're gonna shift gears here just a little bit. We have Winnie Christensen with us this morning, and Winnie is one of the contestants in the Miss Africa Idaho pageant.
No. One of the organizers.
I'm sorry. I read my notes wrong.
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry.
You should have seen the panic on her face.
Well, Winnie, first of all, hey, congratulations. Thanks for being on the show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited.
So, tell us about the project here.
Well, Miss Africa Idaho is not only a pageant, it's a cultural pageant, and its sole aim is to promote culture, pride, and talent of the African culture in style and fashion. So most people see the negative side of Africa, but there's an elegant side to Africa, and that's what we would like to display today. Not today, but on Saturday, on the 23rd at 7 at the CSI Fine Arts Theater from 7 to 9:30, and we're very excited.
So this is the first one.
This is the very first Miss Africa Idaho, and we hope to keep it going on, because other states do have Miss Africa Idaho, and why not? Why not? Yeah.
So how many contestants do you have?
We do have 4 finalists.
Okay.
And they are from all different parts of Africa. We have 1 contestant from Cameroon, Ghana, Eritrea, and Kenya.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So are they going to display like their native dances, their native wear? What's going to happen?
They're going to display various talents of Africa, because Africa is not a country, it's a continent.
Yeah.
So every African country has different culture and different talents and ethnic niches that the other African countries don't have.
Right. And where are you from?
Originally from Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's different than these other ones.
Yes. Kenya's, I'll say, 45 degrees away from what Cameroon and Eritrea really do in their cultures.
So
not 360.
What are the differences? Like, what will be interesting for people to come and see, like, or be surprised at?
Their outfits are really diverse. What you see in West Africa is not what you will see in East Africa. And what you see in one of the contestants from Eritrea, most of their cultural outfits is really, I would say, 360.
But like in what way? Like colors or styles or what?
Yes, color, styles, the headdresses are all different, and the fabric.
And the fabric.
One thing I've noticed from that area is that the clothing is very colorful.
Very colorful. It's like Christmas.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Do different colors represent different countries? I mean, do they have predominantly like mine? Some might have yellow and green. Some might have reds. Like, are there things like that are different?
Yeah. Kenyans use a lot of greens and yellows.
Okay.
And I've seen West Africans, most of them, they use a lot of oranges and black, but not many. Black into the many incorporated in the colors, not just black.
Right.
I've really never seen an outfit just plain black. Black is for funerals.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, in most African countries.
So now this event is coming up, you said Saturday at 7 at CSI.
Yes, the Fine Arts Theater, and you can get the tickets at the box office.
How much are they?
The tickets for the public are $10, and there's a $2 raffle ticket.
Oh.
Yes. And the raffle tickets include restaurants, $400 water rafting trip in Hageman. And then for the students, the tickets are $5, and the students can have an opportunity for the $2 raffle tickets too.
Oh, nice.
But you need to get your tickets early because at the door, they're going to be $2 extra.
Okay. And you have some celebrity judges judging this.
Oh, yes. We do have the opportunity of getting Sierra Sanderson, the Miss Idaho 2014, the insulin pump.
Remember the one who had the insulin pump?
Right.
She's going to be a judge. And then you also have...
We do have Daphne Mallory.
From the Times News.
Yes, and she wrote the piece on aging, senior aging in Idaho. And then we do have Henry Evans from Idaho State University. He is in the chair of diversity in Idaho State University. We do have the fashion lady from Ooh La La. Her name is Layla.
Layla, that's right. So
I paused because I wanted to emphasize on the fashion. Good comeback.
So this should be fun. So they're gonna do talents, and what's different from a normal talent?
Well, we will have an interview section of it.
Okay.
And then we will have a talent portion of it. We'll have the cultural wear. We'll have the evening wear.
Oh, nice.
And how they pose and how they compose themselves.
Are the contestants from just around here? Or are they from all over the state?
We do have 2 from Boise and 2 from Pocatello.
Okay.
Wow. So this is the first Miss Africa. Saturday, 7 o'clock?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
to 9:30 p.m.
So $10 and $2 raffle tickets?
Yes. And $5 for the students.
We're out of time, but thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed, Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger, financial advisors, and the number is 736-6563. Well, you've heard us talking about Pat Hartzell with Stanley & Company and the Lowen Honey Loader, the Lowen Money Loader.
The Lowen manure loader, because my cousin had no idea what honey was.
Yeah, out here, honey, manure, it's the same thing, I know. But no, really, seriously, and especially when we have days like this that are kind of wet and rainy, sometimes that kind of exacerbates the honey situation on our larger feedlots and dairies. And so you need to have something that'll load that up and carry it away and put it where it'll do some good. Well, you can do that with the Lowen Honey Loader. And if you want to see the Lowen Honey Loader in operation, then you get a hold of Pat Hartzell, because he can fix it up so you can see one of these. You can kick the tires, talk to the owner, ask all kinds of questions, open the doors, pull on the chains, and, beat on the thing just to see how well it's built. And all of that before you plunk down your hard-earned money, for one. And Pat Hartzell is the guy to contact for the appointment, or if you want to buy one, 280-1167. That is his own personal cell phone number.
I know.
So you don't have to go through the third order in order to get a hold of him. You can talk to him direct, 280-1167, and he'll be happy to talk to you about the Lowen Honey Loader. And maybe about golf or something, too. I don't know if Pat golfs or not.
Well, since it's been raining, it's a little hard right now.
Is it really? Can't you golf in the rain?
Yeah, you can, but it's not like a lot of people do it. I have done it where you're out there and it started pouring and you got rain gear, but it's not as much fun and you're walking and it's muddy and it's always nicer on a nice day.
It's tough work being a golfer, isn't it?
You don't know what it's like to
I know,
golf.
I don't. I've never golfed.
And actually,
I don't drink
golfing
coffee, I don't smoke, and I don't play
it's
golf.
It's quite peaceful. And so, there's not
I would
loud.
imagine it would be.
So, for me to think that the president's golfing, good for him. It clears your mind. I think about a lot of things. It's like, it's peaceful, it's nice, and you know what? The guy has a tough job, and if he can relax a little, I say
he's president of the United States.
He's on
vacation.
vacation.
You know, President Bush never golfed during his presidency because he felt it was inappropriate.
He actually
to have
did
people
golf.
over it. Not nearly like
then he stopped.
He didn't golf as much in his whole terms in
So
office
what?
as
He
Obama does in a month.
He worked out every day for 2 hours and rode his bike. Does that make it any better? Should a president go home and sit in fetal position? What should the man do? He can't do anything right. And I think,
you got it right there.
And I think
I
think his comments were showed the disgust he had for what happened.
Hey, we're out of time for today. Tomorrow will be Open Mind Friday, and we'll be talking to a couple of guests tomorrow. It'll be fun, so join us then.
And we have our lunch.
And our
Don't
lunch
forget our
tomorrow
lunch.
with Ray Massey and his wife Katie. I'm looking forward to that.
I know, it should be great.
And if you want to sign up for a chance to win lunch with Kelly and Jill at the Canyon Crest Dining and Events Center, that's on our website too at newsradio1310.com. In fact, everything in the world is there. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal.